You've all heard the news at this point. The Avatar movie has been leaked. And this is not the first time this has happened to Paramount either.
Fun? It's okay.
This was such a disappointment, not only for the artists and creators who worked so hard for so many years, but for audiences too. This is not how fans wanted the movie to be released. We wanted to anticipate its release with a full marketing campaign and watch it in the highest quality possible. Not in a format where, in the short snippet that I was exposed to, sounded like the audio was not even mixed correctly. When leaks like this happen in Hollywood, it ruins the hype and momentum of the movie, meaning audiences are less likely to watch the film when it releases officially. However, that might be the case for some movies, but not so much with Avatar. In fact, there is a growing number of people who are actually angry that this has happened, because unlike previous leaks at Paramount where most people couldn't care less, this is a franchise that has been vacant for over a decade now, and people have been long awaiting its return and have been rooting for it to succeed. And to them, this leak spits in the face of that. And in this video, I'm going to explain why the Avatar movie's best chance, now that the movie has been leaked, is the original plan, releasing it in theaters. And I hope some executive at Paramount will hear this. But if they don't, I have another idea that will send the message loud and clear towards the end of this video. And communally, I think we can all make it happen. Avatar creators Mike and Brian have notoriously said that animation takes a long time to make. So when you think about the fact that this movie has taken years to produce just a 90-minute film, that's kind of insane. But with that much love and work put into a project, especially one like this, you'd want it to be seen in a format that is worthy of that work and effort. And ever since this film was greenlit, it was always intended to go into theaters, because it was known by those who greenlit it that it would have serious box office potential. And when you look at what's been happening with 2D animation recently, that potential becomes even clearer. Just the sheer popularity of movies like Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, which is an R-rated 2D animated film, grossed $741 million worldwide. And this is a franchise that is relatively new. It outgrossed every Marvel and DC movie in that year. And this is a franchise that is relatively new. Demon Slayer was originally a manga that started in 2016, meaning that it had around 10 years of established source material before it came to TV and then theaters. Avatar, on the other hand, started in 2005, meaning it has over 20 years of established source material on TV before it was going to come to theaters. It's also anime inspired with a good mix of Western animation. So by that metric, Avatar: The Legend of Aang had far greater potential to earn way more in theaters than the Demon Slayer movie. Not to mention that we are coming off of a renaissance of 2D animated features with Sony's Spider-Verse movies that shocked everyone with its animation style, and it made big bucks at the box office and even won an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. And the 2D animation for Spider-Verse was so inspirational that the whole industry started to imitate it. And based on the very brief stuff that I have been exposed to, I wouldn't be surprised if the Avatar movie also ended up creating a new 2D animation style of their own that other studios would want to imitate. I mean, 2D animation is having such a comeback right now that there are even rumors that Disney are considering returning to their 2D animation roots. So bringing a globally beloved 2D animated franchise back, and on the big screen no less, after nearly 20 years of absence, was the perfect business move. It was going to be an event. And sending this movie straight to streaming significantly diminished that. Because all that box office potential, all that easy money, all those family ticket sales is now converted into the streaming numbers game. I mean, why get several ticket sales from a whole family when you can just get one single admission on Paramount Plus, right?
You'll have to excuse my friend. He's a little slow.
Fans are concerned because of what this could mean for the future of this franchise. The Legend of Aang movie was giving them something they have wanted since 2008, which is a continuation of the story of Aang, Katara, Sokka, Toph, and Zuko. And to get it in theaters, that was hugely exciting. And this was not only supposed to be a return of these characters, but a launchpad for the franchise to branch out and become even bigger. This was supposed to lead to future theatrical movies, TV shows, games, comics, and so much more. And it was all going to start with this huge cinematic event. But this movie being pushed to streaming, and then being leaked?
Oh, damn, foiled again. What bad luck!
What fans are really worried about now is how the studio is going to spin it. David Ellison, who purchased Paramount, is the one who decided to remove this movie from its theatrical release and throw it onto streaming. That was a mistake, because he took a surefire hit, an event that was 20 years in the making, a film that people were anticipating to see on the big screen with their families, and just threw it on a streaming service that most users don't care about or even know exists. This would be like if in 2015 Disney took Star Wars The Force Awakens, which was hyped like crazy, and then decided to just throw it on Disney+. This shows a lack of understanding of just how big this franchise is. Avatar, with its mature storytelling, its world building, its expanded lore with spin-off series and comic books, the merchandising sales, it's on the same grand and rich level as Star Wars. But unlike Star Wars, where Disney is scrambling to repair the damage they caused and return it to the popular franchise it once was, Avatar doesn't need to do any of that. It's already incredibly popular. Clips on YouTube get millions of views, fan interest at conventions is at an all-time high, and the Avatar concert, which has been going on for a few years now, is always met with a full house. I should know because even I attended one at the Birmingham Symphony Hall, and it was packed. I spent around £80 for my ticket, and I would happily do it again. And I was not the only one. It is no small feat to get audiences of all ages who are willing to spend upwards of $100 for a ticket to something they have already seen. Imagine how much money they would be willing to spend to see something new from Avatar, in theaters no less. That would easily translate to multiple viewings and anticipation for more theatrical Avatar movies. In other words, that is a successful franchise, something that Marvel, DC, and Lucasfilm are all struggling to recapture. But Avatar is perfectly set up to dominate in these spaces, and Paramount can pull ahead of all these other franchises. When the name of the game for the movie industry today is IPs, pulling Avatar from the theaters and putting it on streaming is the wrong move. This franchise has way too much potential, and that's what fans are concerned about. Does David Ellison know just how popular an IP Avatar is? Because if he did, he would not have pulled it from theaters. And if current leadership at Paramount was willing to do that, then when the movie officially starts streaming after the leak, I wouldn't be surprised if they looked at the Paramount Plus numbers and said, see, no one is interested in this IP. When really, it's not that people have no interest in seeing this movie, they just have no interest in subscribing to Paramount Plus. I mean, why wait to watch it at home officially when they can watch it at home right now? The streaming release makes even less sense now that the film has been leaked. There is no real incentive in waiting. So there is only one course of action that can still turn this into an event and get people to turn up in droves, even for those who have already seen the movie. As bad as this leak may seem, the movie is far from a lost cause. There are countless videos and engagement on social media of people saying that they will support this movie whenever it comes out, but all of them are saying this one thing. They want to support it in theaters. If the idea is for them to still release this movie on Paramount Plus, then that is not going to counter the leak. If anything, it will strengthen it. But if the movie went back to theaters, as was originally planned, that gives people incentive to watch these characters they grew up with on the big screen. And not only are the images and footage from the leak blowing people away with its visuals and having them confirm that this indeed is a movie that belongs in theaters, but it brings back the event feeling of this film. People vote with their wallets, and when you package something they love and have such reverence and nostalgia towards, they will line up to go to the theater, because everyone is rooting for this to be a huge success. And the fact that so many eyes are on this leak shows just how much interest there is for this movie. It is reported that as of right now, over 10 million people have been exposed to at least some part of this leak on social media. And this illustrates and proves that this is a huge franchise, because if no one was interested in Avatar, then this leak would have fallen on deaf ears. Kind of like when the SpongeBob movies got leaked. And the fact that it has garnered this much attention in such a short period of time just goes to show how big this franchise is and how much fans are really interested in this movie. And fans are concerned that the Paramount leadership will ignore these statistics, ignore all this hype, ignore all the box office potential, ignore all the interest in this franchise, and just conclude that, well, no one is subscribing to Paramount Plus, so I guess this franchise has no legs. And that would be completely wrong. I can go on for hours as to how much of a bad idea it is putting this movie on streaming, and I don't know if making videos like this alone will convince them, so I figured, let's do something about it to prove that we want this in theaters and we want this franchise to continue. I have made my first ever petition that we want Avatar: The Legend of Aang in theaters where it belongs. I detail why releasing it in theaters is the best course of action following this leak, and how this will not only benefit the franchise, but the business as well. While studios have to work to build up other franchises, Avatar is all ready to go. The interest is there. We know, despite this leak, that Avatar can still go on to become a big franchise and a big success in theaters. But the new studio execs at Paramount don't seem to think that way. So let's convince them that it can. That we want more theatrical movies like this. That we want Mike and Brian to create more stories in the Avatar universe, and more stories of Aang and his friends. If that sounds good to you, then sign the petition linked below, and let's let Paramount know that despite the leaks, we don't care. We are here for the long run. We want this franchise to succeed. We want more stories in this universe, and most importantly of all, we want Avatar: The Legend of Aang to be back where it belongs, in theaters.